It's time to pay Uncle Sam his share. For those of you who still haven't filed tax returns, don't worry, because CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger stopped by earlier to give us her last-minute tax tips.
Tax day is tomorrow. Last-minute tips for anybody who's still against the wire, up to the,
Okay, the most important thing, do not hide, because honestly,
the IRS will
find you. It's like your development officer at college. They always find you. So the reality is, if you're coming up against the deadline and you're filing the 1040EZ form, the IRS says that takes about 4 hours to complete. So you still got some time. It's the 1040 filers who might have trouble. The IRS says that can take about 16 hours. So looking like you're coming up against it.
Right.
What you need to know is you can always file for an extension.
Which I did. My accountants this morning emailed me and said, because I haven't filled out any of the required documents that they asked me for over the last like
Worst
4 months.
Client.
I know.
Worse.
And so this morning I got an email that said, Vlad, not to worry, we are taking an extension, and October 15th is what they said.
Right. So this is Form 4868, which I'm sure you know. All right, maybe you don't. Okay.
My accountants do.
But here's the cool thing. You say, oh, I'm off the hook. Not exactly, okay? Because there is a caveat. You get 6 months to file, but you are required to estimate what your tax liability was for last year. And you've got to pay 90% of what you think you owe the IRS, or else you are going to get penalized. And by the way, late filing and penalties can total up to nearly half of what you owe in taxes. So you don't want to do that. So you got to send the form in, and then you got to say, okay, wait, was my income the same as last year? Did I withhold enough? And if not, you got to send an extra check in, which is somewhat problematic if you don't have the money on hand to pay.
Okay, so for extensions and people who file extensions, how many people do that? How common is that? And does that raise any kind of red flags with the IRS?
No red flag at all. Okay. But I think that it's 7% of filers file extensions. That's not such a big deal. And a lot of people who are small business owners will file extensions just because it takes a long time to gather up all these documents. And I think that there's a lot of misinformation. You can, if you're saying, oh my God, I need extra time to pay you, IRS, they'll let you do that. You can have a 4-month extension, a 120-day extension. You can also look at an IRS installment plan. You can make an offer in compromise. You could even use a credit card, but I hate credit cards because honestly,
you're going to pay that 20 or whatever
it
is.
Well, it's a 2.35%, up to 2.35%. fee on top of your taxes. It seems like a silly way to go. So there are other ways to do it. Know that you have options. And I also will tell you, the IRS website happens to be terrific. IRS.gov. You can look at all of the places there that they'll give you lots of links. But if you just get into trouble, you can do that. Remember, you don't have to panic about this. They don't want you to be completely hysterical. On the other hand, it's no use calling because the IRS budget's been cut like to shreds, and you're never going to get someone on the phone in time.
What advice do you have for people who are just sitting down and they're trying to get their electronic return filed? What are the common mistakes? You said there aren't really as many mistakes as with paper necessarily, but what are some things that sometimes people miss?
Well, first of all, if you have a document that says you got paid income, right, a W-2, a 1099, you've got to report that. So the big mistake, first, the big mistake is math errors, but that's cut down dramatically when you file electronically. The next mistake is not reporting income that was reported to the IRS on your behalf, because every tax document you got was sent to the IRS as well. So you've got to report any income that was reported to you. The other things that people kind of blow are silly things like signing, turning around social security numbers. I am claiming my child, and all of a sudden your child's social, you switch two numbers. Not claiming. When I think of big mistakes, I don't think of like those. Those are the broad mistakes. Right. But some of the big mistakes that I always worry about is people aren't claiming the credits that are due to them. There are a lot of credits out there, especially if you make anywhere less than $80,000. There's a ton of tax credits that are available to you. I think that people are taking an approach that's very quick and dirty at this point in the process, and they may be leaving a lot of money on the table, and it's your money. So I know you're patriotic, but not that patriotic.
All right. Jill Schlesinger, thank you so much. That was great.
Great to be with you.